I think our strongest power is our humans, our people, our human resources. The way the world is going, we already can see, based on even our population growth and the number of young people we have in Africa, that we will be able to power the world with the people that we have.
Ethiopia just lit up Africa's largest dam. Mozambique is investing $6 billion in a new hydroelectric project. School meals now reach 87 million children. And Johannesburg is preparing to host the G20 for the very first time. Shocking, right? But how do all these pieces fit together? Dams, classrooms, railways, and global summits. Are they random wins or part of one bigger story? What is happening in Africa? Let's find that out.
Something extraordinary is happening across Africa. A quiet revolution is underway. It's not just one event, not a single headline, but 1,000 stories converging into one unstoppable current. Dams are lighting cities that were once dark. Farmers are selling harvests through digital markets, and young engineers are coding the continent's future. Line by line, dream by dream. In Ethiopia, the air vibrates with a new kind of power. Quite literally, after more than a decade of construction, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam has begun its full-scale operations, sending electricity surging through the national grid. At nearly 5,000 megawatts. It's not only Africa's largest hydroelectric project, it's a symbol, a declaration of intent. We built it with our own hands, says project engineer Alem Kabid, his voice echoing above the roaring turbines. This isn't just a dam, it's a message that Africa can power Africa. In Mozambique, 3,000 kilometers away, another story unfolds. The government has announced a $6 billion investment into the Mfondankhuwa hydroelectric project, one of the continent's most ambitious clean energy efforts. Its goal, to export power to the Southern African power pool, bringing energy stability to neighboring nations like Zimbabwe, South Africa, and Malawi. Once operational, it could produce 1,500 megawatts of renewable power, enough to electrify millions of homes. Mozambique's Minister of Energy, Carlos Zacarias, puts it simply, energy is not just about light, it's about life, industry, education, health, it's the foundation of everything. Meanwhile, in West Africa, the headlines tell a different, but equally powerful story, not about electricity, but about food. Across 21 countries, the African Union School Meals Program has now reached 87 million children, 87 million plates of hope served daily, fueling minds that will design the next generation of solutions. In Senegal, kitchen workers line up trays of warm millet porridge. In Ghana, local farmers deliver cassava and beans directly to schools. And in Kenya, children sing as they eat, because for them, lunch isn't just a meal, it's a chance to stay in class, to dream, to build. We're not just feeding kids, says Commissioner Josefa Sacco. We're investing in the next innovators of Africa, and soon, the world will be watching. Because Johannesburg, Africa's economic powerhouse, is set to host the G20 summit for the very first time. It's more than a conference. It's a historic shift. The world's most powerful nations sitting on African soil, discussing global trade, energy, and technology not as donors and recipients, but as equals. Africa is not the future, said South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa during the announcement. Africa is the present, and the world must adjust. Across the continent, the signs are everywhere. From Casablanca's new financial district, now rivaling Dubai's trade hubs, to Rwanda's innovation city, where quantum computing labs hum quietly at dawn. From Egypt's Benben Solar Park, the world's largest concentrated solar installation, to Nigeria's Lekki deep sea port, designed to handle $25 billion in trade a year. This is not a continent waiting for change. This is a continent building it, brick by brick, bite by bite. But beneath the optimism lies a deeper question. Is Africa finally charting its own course? Or is it simply the next arena in the global power race between East and West? The United States and China are watching closely. billions in new investment deals, defense partnerships, and digital infrastructure projects crisscross the continent, from Beijing's Belt and Road to Washington's Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment. Africa has become the new frontier for influence, says Dr. Amina Hirsi, an economist based in Nairobi. But the difference now is, Africa has leverage, it has population, it has technology, it has data. The world needs Africa more than Africa needs the world. In 2025, Africa stands at a crossroads, and for once, it holds the map. Its population is nearing 1.5 billion, half of them under 25. Its digital economy is projected to hit $712 billion by 2050, and its renewable energy capacity has tripled in the last decade. The narrative is shifting. No longer defined by crisis, but by creativity, construction, and confidence. The world used to ask, "Can Africa rise?" says Zambian journalist Chipo Mwanza. Now the question is, can the world keep up? This is not a story of aid. This is a story of agency. Every great civilization began with energy. The Romans mastered aqueducts, the British mastered coal. And now, in 2025, Africa is mastering electricity, on its own terms, across the continent. Megaprojects once dismissed as dreams are now live, humming and radiating power into homes, cities, and industries. In Ethiopia, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, or GERD, has become both an engineering marvel and a political statement, stretching 1.8 kilometers across the Blue Nile. With a reservoir so vast it can hold 74 billion cubic meters of water, it now generates over 5,000 megawatts, enough to power nearly half of East Africa. This dam is not only for us, says Chief Engineer Alem Kabid, proudly pointing toward the control center. It's for Sudan, for Djibouti, for Kenya, for a connected Africa. The GERD's power exports are already transforming regional economics. Sudan now imports clean energy through cross-border grids, reducing diesel reliance by 30%. Kenya's manufacturing parks are expanding as affordable electricity becomes more stable. Even Egypt, once fiercely opposed to the dam's construction, has begun talks to integrate its northern grid, a symbolic shift toward continental cooperation. Far to the south, Mozambique's Mfondenkuwa hydropower project is emerging as Africa's next great leap. Backed by $6 billion in funding and partnerships with both Chinese and African engineering firms, the project aims to deliver 1,500 megawatts of power, making it one of sub-Saharan Africa's largest renewable energy investments. Its location on the Zambezi River, downstream from the Cahora Bassa Dam, gives it a strategic advantage: less flood risk, higher efficiency, and integration with the Southern African power pool, a grid network linking 12 nations. When we electrify a region, we electrify opportunity, says Carlos Zacarias, Mozambique's Minister of Energy. Every kilowatt means a new business, a clinic with power, a child studying after dark. The project is also a turning point for regional independence. For decades, Africa's energy future was dictated by foreign lenders. Today, the African Development Bank and local sovereign funds are leading the charge, proof that financing Africa's future can come from Africa itself. But not all revolutions are built on rivers. Across the Sahara and Sahel, sunlight is becoming the new oil. In Egypt's Benben Solar Park, 41 separate plants stretch across the desert, a shimmering sea of photovoltaic panels generating 1.8 gigawatts of electricity. It's part of Egypt's plan to derive 40% of its power from renewables by 2035. In Morocco, the Norwars Dazit complex, a solar thermal wonder, uses mirrors to focus sunlight onto central towers, storing energy even after sunset. Together, these North African projects could one day supply Europe with clean electricity through intercontinental cables like Desertec and Slinks, flipping the energy narrative entirely. Africa will not just power itself, says Moroccan energy analyst Nadia Benyahia, it will power the world. Yet, beyond the megaprojects lies another quiet revolution, off-grid innovation. In Nigeria, startups like Lumos, Arnergy, and Daystar Power are bringing solar kits to households that were once invisible to the grid. In Kenya, microgrids built by Power Hive and M-Kopa are reaching villages faster than traditional utilities ever could. The results are measurable and profound. By 2025, more than 60 million Africans are expected to gain first-time access to electricity through decentralized systems. According to the International Energy Agency, Africa's renewable market could be worth $60 billion annually by 2030, a number that's pulling investors from London, Dubai, and Singapore. Perhaps the most ambitious project of all is the African Continental Power Network, a multi-decade vision to link every national grid into one synchronized system, currently championed by the African Union's Agenda 2063. The plan envisions a fully connected power web from Cape Town to Cairo, Dakar to Djibouti. Imagine a surplus of solar in Niger powering a city in Angola. Ethiopian hydro backing up South Africa's wind during drought. The dream, once distant, is becoming tangible. Interconnection is the next frontier, explains Dr. Mohamed Addo, a climate and energy policy expert. Once Africa connects, it will trade electricity the way it trades gold and oil. Of course, every revolution has its costs. Entire communities are being relocated to make way for dams. Environmentalists warn of flooding, displacement, and loss of biodiversity. Balancing growth with sustainability remains one of Africa's toughest challenges. But here's the difference. The conversation about Africa's energy future is now being led by Africans. Scientists, policymakers, and local communities are shaping decisions once made in boardrooms thousands of miles away. And amid all the complexity, the results are undeniable. Electricity access in sub-Saharan Africa has climbed from 44% in 2015 to nearly 60% in 2025. That's over 200 million more people with lights, power, and possibilities. It's not just about current and voltage, says Dr. Rose Mutiso, co-founder of the Mawazo Institute in Kenya. It's about dignity, the power to live, to learn, to build. From dams to solar deserts, from national grids to micro power packs, Africa's energy revolution is illuminating not only homes, but futures. And as the continent powers up, another foundation is rising beneath it, the